Today we are talking about instantly releasing your resistance, your fear, all of those things that you know are blocking your manifestation. We're going to get into what's really happening around that and how you instantly release it. And for some of you, what you're going to hear in this video today might seem strange at first because it might seem foreign to you, but this is the best, quickest, most relief-inducing way to not only obviously feel better, but to actually get what you're manifesting. So this is a big video today, guys, and before I jump into it, I will introduce myself to any of you who might not know me yet. My name is Genevieve and I'm a manifestation coach. I mainly talk about law of assumption type stuff. I really like to debunk a lot of the law assumption misinterpretations because there's a lot of that on the internet at the moment. So if you have been led to me, if your manifestation journey has led you to me, it's probably because you're in a space right now where you are ready to let go of some big misunderstandings you've had about manifesting and law of assumption in particular. So anyway, that's me. There are lots of links below for different ways that you can work with me. And oh my gosh, so there is a new course. And when I say new, it's new to you. It is a course I have done before with a select group of people, but it is the Releasing Anxiety course. So I'm so excited that this is finally available for you guys to buy today. Start it today and do it, because especially if this content today really resonates with you and you do feel like you have a lot of fear, anxiety, and resistance in your life, that course in particular is going to just give you like a 10-day overhaul, reset everything, totally reframe the way you've even been thinking about fear and resistance. So that course is now available. So I'm so excited for you guys to do it. It is in the link below, but there's also two other courses. There is the master course in manifesting an SP that is, I mean, all my courses are very, very different than other courses. That's the biggest piece of feedback I get from people, that they're much more in depth. They really do shift you. If you actually apply all of the lessons and the homework I give you, they actually shift you deeper, faster. That sounds kind of funny. But they're very effective in-depth courses. So anyway, there's 3 of them down below. Oh, the self-concept course is the other one, I just have to mention it. That's by far the most popular one. That's 31 days. It's really, really good. So check them out and pick which one is best for you. Or of course, you can do multiple ones if you want. You can also do a one-on-one session with me. That's also in the link below. Yeah, okay, that's it. Let's get into this. So to start this lesson today, because honestly, it is a lesson today, I want to remind you what resistance even is, because resistance is something you hear a lot of people just throw that word around in videos and in content. And I want to remind you what resistance really is. Resistance is when you are looking out at something or looking in at something. It's anything that you're perceiving in your reality, whether it's your internal reality or external reality, and you're looking at it and you're saying, no, no. No, resistance is you resisting something. It's you pushing against something, and so it pushes right back at you. And this is something that a lot of manifestors, especially new manifestors, accidentally create more of in their life because they kind of egoically take the understanding of, okay, I have to live in the wish fulfilled. So I'm egoically only going to accept the wish fulfilled, and I'm going to not accept anything else in my reality, only the wish fulfilled. But when you're doing that in a very egoic way and not in an embodied way, in terms of that you're accepting who you are, in terms of your intrinsic unconditional value, your intrinsic unconditional fulfillment, you're not really doing that. Instead, you're just in your ego being like, I have this and I don't have this, and that's just how it is. And part of that is helpful, especially when it comes to law of assumption. Your ego does need to be on board. It does need to know who you're identifying as. But when that's all you're doing, what that really causes is you being in a lot of resistance to what is not what you prefer, or what you are perceiving as not what you prefer. You're trying to say, okay, this is my reality. This is who I am. I'm only this. But especially when you're manifesting and therefore the 3D hasn't caught up to you, all of your old reality that's still playing out in the old 3D around you is constantly feeling like it's invalidating you. And so if you're not used to handling that, if you don't know how to, in a more embodied way, kind of sail through in a very non-resistant, very accepting way, sail through any 3D that doesn't match your wish fulfilled, if you're not used to doing that, you're going to cause resistance, more resistance, because you're going to see, oh my God, the 3D, it's still like this, or oh my God, me, I'm still feeling crappy, or, you know, you're going to notice that your 3D or your internal world is not what you want, and you're going to start saying no, no, no. And when you say no to the world, you create more of it because you are focusing on it. So I'm going to attempt to use props. Like, here's my props. So, because I'm hoping this will help you. So let's say this is all just stuff out in reality. There's billions, millions and billions of things happening in reality all the time. And most of it, like 99% of it, you're tuning out because, as you know, only certain things exist in your reality, and you can only really see and engage with the level of consciousness that you're at. So let's just say this is millions and billions of stuff trying to get your attention in the 3D reality. And let's say like these three things, you don't even see them. Like you're truly non-resistant to these things out in the 3D reality. And the reason you're non-resistant to these three things is because to you, these three things don't mean anything bad about you. The things that you're resistant to in the 3D reality, you are resistant to them because you think this thing means something about you. You have an attachment to this thing, and that attachment comes from this existing means something bad about me. So let's use the tried and true example of manifesting an SP and there's a third party, because that's the one that's of course the most easy to be very resistant to, very threatened by, very non-approving, non-accepting. You know, that is the situation that's the easiest to be in that state about. But this also applies, of course, to anything. So you could make this example, if it's not an SP thing, then you can make this being, you know, having $0 in your bank account, or still having the extra weight that you want to lose, like things like that. So let's say this is it. This is still having $0 in your bank account, or that there's a third party in your SP situation. And this means something about you. So you were saying no to this. And when you focus on something because you see it and you're like, oh my God, that means that my manifestation isn't working, or that means something bad about me. Like this means I'm not chosen, I'm not fulfilled. Like if this circumstance can mean to you that you are not fulfilled, or that you are not who you say you are, that's you being attached to this. That's you making this bigger. That's you keeping it in your reality, and that's you being in that resistance, that fear. I also say fear a lot when it comes to resistance, because most all resistance is driven by fear. It's fueled by fear. It's that fear of not getting what we want, or thinking that we aren't who we think we are. And it's also, fear always comes from a belief in non-fulfillment being possible, that it is possible for you to fail or to lose. And especially for those of you who watch me a lot, you know that I'm all about remembering that your fulfillment is completely unconditional, and it comes from you, through your God self. Your fulfillment never comes from the conditions that you prefer or you don't prefer. You simply are extending your sense of fulfillment to your reality and to yourself, because especially your physical self is a part of your reality. So when you resist something like a third party in your SP situation or whatever it is, and you are looking at it and you are saying no, and you're disapproving, you're in hate, you're in judgment, you are, again, all of this because you're making it mean something about you. You are pushing against it, it's pushing back, and it's getting bigger. So obviously this is a problem, because you cannot be engaging in multiple realities at once. You cannot be engaging in the reality where so-and-so third party is a problem, or SP still not choosing me and I'm engaging in that reality, and then also engaging in the reality where you're saying, yeah, I'm totally good. I'm totally filled to the brim with fulfillment and love, and it's easy for me to extend that fulfillment and love to my SP, or to my money, or to my body. That's what we mean by living in the wish fulfilled, is you're acknowledging you are the operant power, all power comes from you, and you're extending it to the things that you want. But if you are trying to engage in two realities, where it's like one reality is, I hate this over here, I'm afraid of it, I judge it, I resist it, I'm afraid of it, as I already said. And then over here, I'm like trying to like be fulfilled and loving, but it's like not really working. It's like no wonder, because you can't be in two at once. So this is also the true meaning of when we say, you know, accept that your reality is done and just accept that it's done and live there. We mean that in that embodied, like, I am fulfillment right now. Like, my fulfillment is not contingent upon the conditions of 3D or even the conditions of my own body. My fulfillment is simply contingent upon my state of consciousness in terms of like, how am I accepting that I'm really fulfilled right now? Then what is the trick? That's not really a trick because it's actually a really big practice. But what is the trick to instantly lessen this fear and resistance we're holding to certain conditions, certain outcomes, certain things about ourselves, certain things about other people? The thing to do is to actually love, unconditionally love the things that you have before most feared. And I remember when I first learned this, I had the very egoic question that I asked myself that was like, well, if I extend my love and acceptance and even my fulfillment to the things that I don't want, well, isn't that just going to keep them like even more in my reality? And the answer I have found is no. And I totally get, of course the answer is no, but I totally get why your ego would come up with that question, because your ego is all about control and it wants to make things very black and white and very just controlled, where it's like, this is what I have, this is what I don't have. I don't understand even interacting with something that I wouldn't want because that doesn't feel like control to the way the ego mind operates. And again, if you're trying to do all your manifestation work through simply the ego, it's not going to work. You're going to just create more and more resistance. You're probably going to start to feel worse. I can't even tell you how many clients I've had that have told me a similar story that I had, that when I first discovered the law of assumption and started to try to practice it in my life totally got worse. And I started to feel even worse about myself because I was practicing it from this very egoic place where it was all about control, about a lot of fear. I was so afraid of losing the thing I wanted so badly. I was so afraid of that. And so I was trying so hard to affirm and practice, do all of this, but it was coming from a lot of fear, a lot of resistance. And so my manifestation at that time got even farther away from me. And I felt worse about myself. And I can't tell you how many clients I've had who share a similar story about going through a time like that in their manifesting. And it's because, again, you're trying to relate to manifesting through the ego, through this all about being about control. It's like the ego doesn't really get that it's like totally fulfilled right now. That's simply a choice. It's a choice that confuses the ego because the ego likes to look at what's still wrong. And it just, anyway, it's fascinating. So I'm saying all this to remind you that it makes sense that you're having egoic questions like, well, if I say that I love the third party in my situation, isn't that going to like make them stay more? Or if I say that I love having $0 in my bank account, isn't that going to like make that stay? But it doesn't, because when you are extending true unconditional love towards the thing that you most feared, hated, judged, you are neutralizing the resistance. You are no longer pushing against it in that way that says, this thing is so powerful and so bad and I just hate it, I want to get it out of here. And instead you are just like, you're gone. And now this thing's like, okay, there's nothing pushing against me, I guess I can go too. Like that's usually how it works, because your higher consciousness knows obviously like the true intention, the true assumption is that, yeah, you want to be with your SP. And the true intention and assumption is that, yeah, of course you want to have lots of dollars or whatever country you're from, your monetary thing. You want to have a lot of that in your bank account. So don't think that like your inner being or your higher self or whatever you want to call it is somehow just going to like forget what you're going for. Like it's just going to forget, oh, well, you love having $0. I guess we're just going to stick with that. Like your inner being, it knows you want abundance. Your natural state is abundance. Like when you clear away all of the false limitations that you have created that have caused you to be so focused on what you don't want, what you're afraid of. When you finally like clear those away because you're just not really engaging with them so much more, you are non-resistant to those parts of you. It's like your true being actually does start to shine through. You do start to shine through with your love and with your just natural abundance that is a birthright for all of us humans that come into this physical body with a human consciousness. It is our birthright to be nothing but love and fulfillment and abundance. That's like where we come from. Like that is because we are saying, we know we are God's selves. Like we come from nothing but pure creation, abundance, magic, whatever you want to call it. So when you send that natural part of you that is all about nothing is a threat to me, I am nothing but abundance and love, and you send that to the things that you used to say, ooh, but not that, that's a threat to me, this thing is more powerful than me, this third party potentially is like more powerful than me, this thing could take away my fulfillment. You're no longer doing that. You're no longer engaging in that really like lower level ego bullshit drama that somehow fulfillment isn't yours and this random third party could take it away, or you not having dollars in the bank account could take it away. Like you're no longer engaging in any of that ego, fear, drama stuff anymore. So the practice I want you to do is whenever you notice that you are judging something in your reality or someone in your reality, or you are disapproving of something or someone in your reality, including your SP, especially your SP. Can't even tell you how many clients I have coming in talking about all their complaints about all the bullshit their SP's doing. Well, it's like, no wonder you are in total disapproval of them. You're very uncomfortable about them. You do not accept them. You playing a game where it's like, oh, I'll only accept them when they do what I want. And that's not going to work. You have to be in the wish fulfilled where everything's already good. There's nothing but total acceptance of your SP, total unconditional love and approval of them. And again, the same thing goes to extending that love and acceptance and fulfillment to all the parts of their life that you also disapprove of. So this is what I'm saying, is the practice is to start sending complete unconditional love, unconditional approval, unconditional acceptance to the things that you have a big habit of saying, nope, nope, nope. The things that you say no to are the things you need to integrate back into your sense of fulfillment. Because everything that you're saying no to, you're giving it a power. You're giving it a power against you, a power that says, yeah, you're not who you say you are and you're not fulfilled. Anything you say no to, you're making powerful in a negative way. You are maintaining a meaning that says something about you because of that thing. Like you're continuing to feed off of the mirror of giving something out there a negative meaning, again, because of something about you. You believe it means something about you, and you just keep the loop going, and you need to sever that loop so that it's no longer so present in your reality, so that you can stay more focused on the wish fulfilled, in which, again, fulfillment is unconditional, and you're simply extending that fulfillment to your SP or to a new love if you're manifesting new love, or whatever the heck you're doing, to your boss, to your job, to your money, to your body, everything. You need to go into unconditional acceptance of the things that you hate and fear the most. And that is how you just cut resistance and the fear that drives resistance at the knees, because you're no longer saying that this is a problem. You're saying this isn't a threat to me. I am who I say I am. I am. That's who I am. I am that I am. So practice that by sending true unconditional approval. Even when like stuff happens in your 3D, it's like totally like not what you want. And I guess I'm saying this now in the sense of like, say like you're driving in traffic and somebody just like totally flips you off or something, like something that's like a really negative thing that would be easy to instantly be resistant towards and make a meaning about you, especially when you're a manifestor. This is another thing that I so hate, is like a lot of people, they come into manifesting, especially law of assumption, and they start to take everything even more personally than they ever did before, because they're like, oh my God, I create my reality. So if anything ever bad happens, that means that I'm still bad and I'm a bad person. And they overinflate every piece of negative feedback to mean way too much. And it's like, whoa, people, we're supposed to be doing the opposite of that. You're supposed to be choosing to make meaning out of the things that you love, the things you want to move towards identifying with. And you don't need to be conflating every single random little thing that happens in the chaos of the 3D reality. You don't need to be conflating everything to mean something really bad about you. Of course, if there are big negative patterns, you want to do some self-inquiry on that, some inventory on that to see like what's happening with these big negative patterns that I keep seeing. But yeah, go back to the example of somebody flips you off in traffic. Instead of like being weird and getting in your ego and being like, oh my God, what does this mean about me that somebody just flipped me off? Instead, just send that person total unconditional love. Like actually love that they flipped you off. Like this is what I mean by true power, of like love that they did that. Like there's so much power in that. You are so non-threatened by anything. When someone can seemingly act against you, even though no one can act against you because you are God. So that's why you're able to do this, because you know that it's not real. No one can really act against you. So someone seemingly acts against you and you actually even approve of that behavior. Like in that moment, you just send it unconditional love and approval. So I hope that makes sense, because I don't want you to get too caught up in, because there's a big difference between acceptance and creation. I actually talk about this. This is actually a big thing I talk about in the course. So if this whole thing has really like been big for you, this video, definitely get the releasing anxiety course, because I talk a lot more about this, especially the difference between acceptance and creation. So yeah, you're accepting that it happened. You're totally non-threatened by it. You're even approving in that moment that it happened, but you are not creating it. So get the course to go deeper into it and just trust. But this is what I want you to practice. So this is really going to be a game changer for a lot of you, because like I was saying, I know so many of you have accidentally created even more resistance in your life because you're like fearfully gripping on to like, this is the wish fulfilled and I can only accept this. And it's like all in your ego and it's being fueled by fear, and it's actually making things worse for you. And you know that I'm not making that up because you've experienced that. Like I know from so many of you that you are experiencing that things get worse, and they feel worse when you are operating from this fearful place. So practice what we talked about today. And I'm always here if you want to obviously work with me. The courses are down below, as I said, and let me know your thoughts and questions for other video ideas. I always like to see what the questions are. If I see a question that I think would be really great to kind of talk to you guys all about, because I think it would help a lot of you, then I will make a video about it. So let me know what's on your mind and we will get into that. So thank you guys, and I will see you in my next video. All right, bye.